welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 1082. Let's go and claim it. Kitten is here with me and we're gonna go over why this chapter was the single best chapter in One Piece history. Alright, let's dive in. Hello everyone, it's Laffy Traffy. Now we start off with the opening scene of Sengoku and Tsuru talking about recent events, and gasp, T-Bone died. The Water 7 guy, remember, versus Zoro on the sea train? T-Bone is dead! I can't believe you forgot about him. I just want to say that if you had to ask me a day ago who I think the next person to die was, I never would have guessed T-Bone, and it's really honestly kind of sad. But, you know, we get through it, and the Marines now know that they have a target on their back for real. They underestimated Buggy-sama and the Cross Guild, and that was their mistake. So, now Sengoku and Tsuru are just talking about how awful it is that the civilians are going after the Marines, and how terrible it is that the Marines are sworn to protect the civilians. How dare they turn their backs on us? And although it is sad to see Sengoku very disheartened by the turn of events, because Sengoku is one of the few good Marines, as well as Tsuru, you gotta wonder, you really think the Marines are all good? And this is definitely not indicative of any current events at all. There's no relation whatsoever. How quickly the Marines forget what they truly do to the civilians. I'm sure in rich, wealthy countries, the Marines are something to be adored and worshipped, like Kobe and Garp. You know, these are heroes of the Marines, and for good reason, because the majority of the pirates are very bad. However, a lot of the Marines are too, and they often turn a blind eye to a lot of the pirate activity, as well as just enabling the celestial dragons and their hold of the world, and often, unfortunately, contribute just as much towards the oppression of the world as those pirates. And although Sengoku doesn't see that, it's really no wonder why a lot of the civilians, the citizens of the One Piece world, don't always feel the same way about the Marines. The important part is, though, that the Marines are now aware how serious Buggy-sama is. And also it was funny that Sengoku did not know where Garp was, so Garp really was just, we're going shopping, Helmeppo and Kujaka, and we're going out to get Kobe, with no preamble whatsoever. So that was kind of funny that Sengoku's like, I have some rice crackers I really wanted to talk to Garp about. Where did he go? And then he just flashback fade into Galaxy First on Beehive Island. But anyway, who are we talking about that was actually important? Oh, Buggy, right. Buggy-sama, as we've seen, is the figurehead of the Cross Guild, an organization set against the Marines, putting bounties on Marines to kind of even the playing field of the seas. And the fear is surely sinking in, as we see in the last scene that we were just talking about with Sengoku. And indeed, Buggy is the figurehead of this organization in more ways than one. In one instance, he's the popular figurehead leading the organization, but is an acting puppet for Mihawk and Crocodile, who are secretly running the organization behind the shadows, mostly for their own egos, while Buggy is again the figurehead. And in other cases, he is literally the figurehead of the Cross Guild ship. I mean, I've never seen a better ship than this one, because goddamn, the Going Buggy Senpai, that is one hell of a ship. I'd ride it. Wait. Buggy being this figurehead, in both senses of the word, put him in the unfortunate situation of being in the clutches of Mihawk and Crocodile. Crocenhawk, if you will. Who are not so happy about Buggy being the figurehead, in both senses of the word. They are understandably a bit angry when presented with this gorgeous ship, in which will represent the Cross Guild, and they supposedly have to be sailing around in it, with this utopia organization being represented by Buggy. So they string him up and beat him. Yeah, a little harsh, but I suppose it's good to remember sometimes that Crocodile and Mihawk are not the fluffy kind of pirates. They are rough, cruel, ruthless pirates that sometimes we maybe forget about. It's unfortunate though that Buggy had to be that example. But that doesn't stop him. Buggy-sama still takes a stand against the clutches of Croc and Hawk and speaks out against their plan for the guild. Buggy stands up to them and basically just tells them that they're doing it all backwards. They want wealth, they want power, they want to compete with Shanks. Everyone here is making their move, and Shanks being one of them, Buggy says that you have to step it up. We were on the Pirate King's crew together. Although it took Shanks a while to make his move, if you want to compete in the endgame, you need to go all the way to the top, to the One Piece. Croc and Hawk mean business, don't get me wrong, but they're just not shooting high enough. Buggy has been laughed at, defeated, scoffed at, dismissed, but he always gets back up. And this speech that he gives about the One Piece to the Cross Guild isn't only for Croc and Hawk and the guild as a whole, but it's for Buggy himself, to his past self. Like I said, he always shot high, but back in the day, when compared to Shanks, Buggy gave up on his dream as a young child, thinking that it was useless to try and compete against Shanks, who showed so much promise for the new age. He couldn't measure up, and so he gave up, and he kicks himself now for it. For one reason or another, even Buggy himself states that it was some crazy stupid luck or chance that got him here on equal footing with Shanks, in name at least. For whatever reason that it happened, Buggy is in the end game now, and he has to make the most of it. Long story short, Buggy had one of the most inspirational One Piece speeches of the treasure and the show, and I am here for it, but damn did it piss off Croc and Hawk, that's for sure. And I didn't realize exactly why Croc and Hawk were so upset about it at first. I thought they were just pissed off that he was like speaking up against them. But reading it again, I realized that in him using the speaker and talking to the guild as a whole, he wasn't just inspiring them to live life to the fullest and, you know, reach out for your dreams and remember what you set sail for originally, but he also made that statement about the One Piece to the whole guild. Meaning now he has forced the hand of Cross Guild that officially now they are going for the One Piece. And Buggy being the figurehead, it's as official can get, and now Mihawk and Crocodile, despite what they wanted to do, however they wanted to do it, now their hands are tied because Buggy declared their mission is the One Piece now. So there's no backing out. There's no way that they can rescind this statement that was declared to the whole of the island, to all of the Cross Guild, by Buggy-sama no less. Now on a more muted tone, I really was not expecting Buggy's backstory to be so damn sad. When I first saw Shanks and Buggy pop up in this flashback, I got all excited because I loved the two of them as a duo, but it's just really depressing seeing it now in Buggy's eyes. His captain was just killed on stage for everyone to see, and now the kid that Roger chose to be his kind of unofficial, official predecessor, Shanks, is now just giving up his dream. The dream that Buggy himself gave up because of Shanks, because Shanks showed so much promise. And now Shanks has other things on mind. I was really hoping this would shed some light into the motives of Shanks, because that is a big thing that I'm really interested in, and is why Shanks hasn't made his move. Why is he more of this peacekeeper in the new era? But for Buggy, Shanks was all that and more. And to see the day that Roger died, Shanks give up on that dream and forget what it was all about, Buggy was heartbroken. And rightfully so! And mind you, none of that is Shanks' fault either. Like I said, I would love to know more about Shanks' motives, but alas, he is still shrouded in mystery. After reading the anguish that Buggy went through that day, and now to see him today, to stand up against Croc-a-Hawk, in no different way than when Luffy stood up against Big Mom and Kaido. No difference, none. Buggy-sama showed the most inspirational, motivated, outstanding Buggy-sama there's ever been. Was that a sentence? This was very inspirational for Buggy. And I mean, look at his sad little tear-stained lashes. I mean, how could you not cry when you look at that face? Crying out that he's gonna be king of the pirates. Buggy is going to be king of the pirates. That is what we've decided. Hashtag Buggy or bust. I'm just saying, all this time, I thought we were laughing alongside Buggy. He's a jokester, he jests, he stumbles upward in life, but I thought we were all having a good old time, a good old flashy time. Yet here Buggy is, saying no more! Goddamn, saying no more! And suddenly, after all this time, I feel like I've been laughing at Buggy. And it doesn't feel so good anymore. And to that, Buggy-sama, I say, I'm sorry. Buggy or bust. King of the Pirates, I believe in you! And then, so after that incredible show of character development by Buggy, our favorite flashy clown, we turn suddenly to the Kamabaka Queendom, where, ta-da! Sabo's alive! Part 2. Not really a reveal considering Sabo, but I was kind of confused on the way that they explained it away, saying that Sabo wasn't actually on the island, even though looking back at chapter 1060, when the whole Lelugia kingdom, I mean, the kingdom that never existed, continued to not exist, it seemed pretty apparent that Sabo was on the island, and I would have accepted him surviving purely because of the Maramara no Mi, because of fire, and if it was like a laser beam, you know, that kind of, he could survive that seemingly pretty easily. However, it seems that maybe Sabo was just leaving the island. Some were saying that he was just off of it. He was kind of looking back at the big laser show, so maybe he had just made it off the island, luckily with a lot of people, apparently, who were, hey, now joining the crew, joining the Revolutionaries. Is great. Milk Girl survived, but Koala and the rest of the gang were so happy to see him after Sabo always makes them worry, and gosh, it just makes her, I mean them, so happy to see him alive. Sorry, I live for Koala and Sabo. But hey, we meet the vice captains of the officers of the Revolutionary Army. We've got Ushiano, I'm sorry about these pronunciations, morally subordinate, who is possibly a cowmink or a zone user who speaks in broken sentences and thoughts. We've got a Hiru, Bello Betty subordinate, who certainly looks the part and also has a pretty epic machine gun robot arm. That's badass. We've got Gamble, Lindbergh subordinate, who might have a great fall off a wall at any moment. Gather the king's horses and the king's men. And finally, Jiron, Karasu subordinate, who looks like a Wish Order Yonji, who in turn looks like a Wish Order Sanji, so sorry, Jiron, but he seems to be eating and enjoying some binoculars. He likes to eat those, apparently, so that's quirky. But we've also got the civilians of Lelugia, who have survived the blast, of the kingdom that didn't exist. So hey, we got more revolutionaries, and Bello Betty's gonna whip them into shape in no time. And lastly, the last scene of the chapter, we join the top executives of the Revolutionary Army, Dragon, Sabo, and Eva, in a secret meeting now that Sabo can finally talk with Dragon about all that has transpired at the Reverie, specifically Eam. Can you imagine what Dragon's reaction to Eam's existence is going to be? All this time, they've been focusing on the Gorosei and the Celestial Dragons, thinking that, at least there's a group of leaders. There's not a single ultimate power of the world in the throne that's not actually empty. And so to find that out, that would be world-changing for Dragon, who is so invested in freeing the world of the tyranny of the Celestial Dragons. To find out about Eam's existence would just blow him away. Pun intended, because wind. So much happened at the Reverie. Sabo saved Kuma, they all saved Kuma, they fought against Fujitora and other admirals. Cobra died, Sabo was accused of aforementioned murder, and Vivi was captured, escaped. I assume maybe, this is my thought at least, that Eam maybe accidentally revealed himself, seems careless but just go with it, when he maybe tried to off Cobra. Maybe he accidentally revealed himself to Vivi, who maybe was also supposed to die or be captured, and so Sabo swooped in and saved her, and that's why they kind of framed Sabo as the evil guy there, just so, everyone would be out for him. But we don't really know how Vivi and Sabo played into this part, unless I'm forgetting something, because now Vivi's with Morgan, so I don't really know how that all came together, but Dragon's about to find out, regardless. There is just so much to be told to Dragon, and whether the next chapter will reveal this information, that's yet to be seen, because this might be a cliffhanger. We might go back to Egghead. We're having a lot of chapters going back and forth between Egghead and the rest of the world, and I am here for it, for sure. But I would love to see Dragon's reaction to all of the information Sabo's about to give, so whenever we do get that conversation, I hope we actually see the conversation and not just the aftermath of maybe Dragon making plans against it, blah blah blah. I want to see Dragon's face when he learns about Eames' existence. Hell, it's Dragon. Maybe he already knows. And maybe this was something that he's also been keeping a secret from the rest of the Revolutionaries to not cause an uproar. Who knows? Dragon has a lot of connections. We don't know how deep it goes. Dragon might actually know about Eames' existence. But if he doesn't, I definitely want to see his reaction for that. But that's all I have to say about chapter 1082 of One Piece. Please let me know what your thoughts were, because this was a really awesome setup chapter, but also just so incredible for Buggy. I mean, Buggy is just such a great character, and I was not expecting to be so sad, because his backstory and everything leading up to him exclaiming his dream, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, and I promise I am rooting for Buggy to be Pirate King. Sorry, Luffy. You had 1082 chapters and you still didn't get there. It's Buggy's turn. Step aside! But I hope you guys do have a good night, morning, evening, wherever you are. And don't forget to subscribe. It means a lot. And like the video, comment below all your thoughts. And we'll check it out next time. There might be a break next week, but we will see. In the meantime, this is Beppo signing out. Bye! Shoo!